Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Detroit. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Kenji Egashira, and we're both excited and honored to bring you coverage of the finals. It is time for two great teams to battle it out. Only one champion will emerge. We have Matt Nass, Jacob Wilson, Sam Pardee on the left-hand side, playing against Ben Stark, Luis Scott-Vargas, and Eric Froehlich, the triple Hall of Famer team. Now, Eric, I know, he's technically not in the Hall yet. He's got to get inducted. He is a Hall of Famer elect, though, so we're calling it. And I guess it's not a shock, to see this team in the finals, Kenji.
I'm not shocked, Marshall. The bee's knees of Magic players,
right,
as I like to say.
These guys are unbelievable. Right now, we're actually on the middle match, though. That's Luis on the right-hand side. And he's taken a thumping here early from Jacob Wilson, who's wasted no time rumbling for a bunch of damage. And Luis hasn't really been able to find a suitable defense yet, though he just put a void. Cancel that order.
How about a Whirler Rogue?
Yeah, that seems better. He does actually have a Separatist Void Mage in his hand. He kept that on top of his library with his Sigiled Starfish, but it turned out that this turn the play was Whirler Rogue.
Mm-hmm. Now,
an even better stabilizer here.
Oh yeah, but we saw Jacob's draft. Actually, we saw both of these players' drafts, and I think Jacob has a better going over the top deck. He's drawn very aggressively this game, but I think he's going to have the capability to go over what Luis has.
Two hasty Thopters are going to get in there. Now, Luis can trade, and he's going to. He realizes that on the beatdown control spectrum this game, he's the control. So he's going to trade off some creatures and try to leverage, A, the fact that he has 4 cards in his hand, and B, the Sigiled Starfish. I mean, that's just going to generate him an advantage the longer this game goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we see a Ring Warden now coming down for Luis, which is just going to beating.
Ye old brick wall. A quick land play here from Jacob Wilson. 2 cards left in his hand.
Yeah, he's got 3.
3, excuse me, and it's a Prickle Boar. I'm pretty sure that Prickle Boar is going to end up back in his hand at some point here. That card went to the bottom, by the way, with the Starfish. Luis declines to scry on his upkeep.
I think he doesn't mind just keeping it back as a blocker. Jacob has 4 1-power creatures on the board, so.
Yeah, not too bad. Is it Void Mage o'clock here? Ding! There he is. Get the Prickle Boar out of here. That means it's not even going to get an attack in this turn cycle. So once again, Jacob Wilson's going to have to recast it, and he does. He also had the option of using his Foundry of the Consuls that turn instead, but decided not to, given the 3/3 flyer on Luis's side.
Yeah, and you know what? Luis has another Separatist Void Mage in his hand,
really?
so he's going to be able to out-tempo Jacob here, who's, if he's just relegated to playing the Prickle Boar every turn, he's going to keep taking the 3 damage from the Owl.
Oh, God, I love it. Punishing people for playing 5-drops.
It's definitely a thing in this format.
So good. That was a Dwynen's Elite that Luis drew off the top of his deck. It doesn't do much here, right? Can't attack through the Engineers. Not really going to get in the way of a Prickle Boar anyway, so meh.
Well, I mean, it's a fine card. It's whatever.
Shrug.
You can really play if you have it.
No, I mean here, though.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I think you just Separatist Void Mage again.
I mean, obviously, it's a good card, but yeah, I like Separatist Void Mage in here, too. Ring War now is going to rumble. So it's already taken 6 of Wilson's life here. And there's Separatist Void Mage number 2. Bouncing your 5-drop 2 turns in a row is so difficult to recover from, but it looks like Wilson, if he can find an answer for the Owl, might actually be able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the Thopters are just holding off both the 2/2s. I guess all 3 of the 2/2s on Luis's guide. It's just the
Thopter Engineers?
Sorry, yes. The Thopter Engineers are holding off all the 2/2s, but the Sigiled Starfish is just doing so much work.
Yeah, it's just in Luis's best interest, again, to make this game go long, and he's been able to do that. It's that simple. The good part on his side of the deal here, too, is that he's been able to do it and develop his board. It's not like he's just sitting back. He's the one who's beating down. In fact, he's even ahead in the damage race now.
Just imagine if he didn't have this Owl prior to the Prickle Boar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where all of his damages come from.
Literal, yeah. He's done 9 damage with this Owl, so interesting stuff here. And, Luis is just going to kind of flood the board out here with another couple of creatures.
See if Jacob Wilson can do anything about that. Remember, during the draft, he did pick up a Dwynen. That can kind of block a Ring Warden Owl, although it's a little bit scary since the Ring Warden Owl does have prowess.
Can't cast it yet.
No double green. Very true.
Foundry of the console's looking a little annoying. Oh, I see some results coming in. Holy smokes.
Wow.
Yeah, this game's going along pretty quickly, but Eric Froehlich has already picked up game 1 against Sam Pardee, and on the other side of the table, Matt Nass has won his game 1 against Ben Stark. So numbers flying around our graphic here. Scab Clan Berserker, and he is going to use the combo here. Subterranean Scout targeting the Berserker, which is going to get it in for damage. Luis, though, he wants his Prickle Boar off the table, and he's lining up a Mighty block. The only card he needs to worry about is Might of the Masses here, Kenji.
Yeah, and I think we know that during the drafting portion, Wilson did not actually pick up one of those, but...
Okay.
Yeah, this is gonna be
Wilson doesn't have a Chandra's Ignition either.
No, I certainly wish he did. That card is very nice.
Yeah, he wishes he did too.
Yeah, the Scab Clan is going to become a 3/3 first striker, which is, not irrelevant, especially if Luis is willing to throw 2 creatures away for this Prickle Boar.
Why is he going to have first strike?
Oh, I'm sorry. Not the
okay. I didn't know which one you meant. You meant the Berserker. So it will become Renown.
Yes.
And it is going to be perhaps annoying for Luis to work around, but he's at 15 life, so the Renown triggered ability isn't going to really wreck him here, I don't think. The real key, Kenji, that I'm seeing here, Ring Ward now.
I mean, we've already talked about it.
Keep pecking away in the air, right?
It's dealt all 9 damage so far. He might deal another 3, maybe 4 this turn. Doesn't look like he has a spell, though.
Oh, there's a negate in hand now for Luis. You got to feel like that's going to seal the deal here, right? He can protect his owl, or, let's say that that Wilson did have a big bomb like Chandra's Ignition that, maybe Luis didn't know about yet or whatever. He would be able to protect from that, too. All right, here's a Llanowar Empath now for Wilson.
You're a big fan of that card.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's really solid at the 4-drop slot in the green deck.
It's growing on me.
Is it?
Yeah, it's growing on me.
Okay.
It's done a lot of work this past weekend.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not first picking the thing.
Sure.
But I'm 5th picking it.
All right. So Wilson revealed a mountain there. He kept it on top.
What?
Yeah.
Why does he want more lands, Kenji?
I don't remember him. Oh, he has that Mage Ring Responder, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
I mean, this is a thing that Luis Scott-Vargas is going to note very strongly here as well. I wonder if there's a point where he sends in his Rock Maulers to clear the way. I suppose trading it off for, a Thopter Engineer and a Goblin token probably isn't really high on his list. There it is, Mage Ring Responder.
Kind of just
Wilson
throws it down.
Literally just throws it on the table.
Haste from the Engineered
Oh,
Marshal.
no!
Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
Artifact
yes.
creatures you control have haste. And we see a hasty Mage Ring Responder. We were talking about the owl. Is it going to be able to survive? Will he find removal for it? He just did.
I think he's actually going to kill the Rock Mauler first.
So that he can keep getting in
Yeah.
with the Mage Ring Responder. Because, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 power on the ground right now. I think you're right. I don't think he has a choice either.
Plus, not to mention, he has Foundry of the Consoles left
did
back.
not.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Blocks. Oh, he's going to chump block.
Interesting.
He could have blocked with...
The Mauler, a Void Mage, and like the Spider.
Right.
Huh.
And he would have lost the Mauler and the Void Mage. But now we see why. Conclave Naturalist for Scott-Vargas. But as we've alluded to a couple of times earlier in the game, the owl was the key there.
Mm-hmm.
And, the negate that Luis has in his hand was supposed to protect the owl.
Yes.
And it didn't. Because it was a creature that killed it. Well, here's another form of removal for an owl. It's a Lightning Javelin. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Luis use it. Oh, he's tapped out. Never mind.
The negate.
I wouldn't have been shocked to see him use the negate there had he had mana for it. Unfortunately, not an option for Luis, so he is going to have to just draw a card and start slogging through the ground game.
Yeah.
Wilson has clawed his way back quite nicely here.
Although a nice one for Luis if he wants to do that. I think he drew a Somberwold Alpha in his hand. He's deciding to play
right.
the Disciple here first.
So he's going to go a little wider
Yeah.
and then play it, and he's going to have some mana up. Here we go. Somberwald Alpha, and he's got some big ones here. The Rock Maulers. He's got the Death Touching Farika's Disciple. Looks like he's just going to attack with the Death Toucher here.
And Death Touch plus Trample is just very, very good together.
Yeah, this is going to have to be quite a few creatures blocking the Disciple here. to make sure that Nass actually gets it. Excuse me, that Wilson actually gets it dead.
Yes.
But his problems will not end there. If he's left over with a bunch of, say, 1-1s, getting those 1-3s out of there is great for Scott-Vargas here. And, of course, Wilson knows it, so he's trying to line up his blocks so that he gets to keep as many of his high-toughness creatures as he can.
Yeah, it's crazy how insane the Sommerwald Alpha here is on this board again. We mentioned it earlier when he played it, but Trample versus all these 1/1 goblins is so good. I think that's going to push him over the top unless Wilson can find an answer.
Wilson's been finding answers, right? It took him a while. He's at 5 life, so it took him a while to stabilize, but he did finally find some answers.
It looks like we have a triple block on the Disciple.
Yep, and Luis says, sure, that order. Make sure Sommerwald Alpha triggers, and he should be able to take down all of these creatures here.
No reason to give it trample. Just going to hold up that negate that he has.
Yeah. Is the other one the Subterranean Scout?
It looks like it, yes.
Yeah, so that makes 4 power total, just enough to kill the now 3/4 Froehlich's Disciple. So a clean trade there. And I think Luis is okay with that. He'd like to clear out some of the board to clear the way for his Naturalists and his Rock Maulers, especially now that they're going to start getting pumped.
Yeah, Luis's creatures just outclass all of Wilson's currently. But
Exactly.
yeah, Foundry we're probably going to see pop off at the end of the turn here.
Indeed. There it goes. Luis, ever the gentleman, grabs the Thopters for Jacob. Now, these Thopters have haste. Just saying.
There's also a spider on the other side of the board.
It probably doesn't matter, but they do.
One of the cards in Jacob's hand is a forest. Wasn't quite sure what he drew for this turn.
Now, Jacob doesn't have like Jiraga Invocation or anything, does he?
I believe not. I think he passed it during the draft, actually. Yeah,
Okay.
no invocation here.
Yeah. Luis is going to find a target for this negate at some point. That would be a fine one had Wilson had it, but I think he does.
Yeah, I think Majoring Responder was the big finisher for Wilson. He just has a lot of smaller creatures left in his deck.
Got a hasted Majoring. I haven't seen that yet. That's nasty.
That's pretty nasty. Ooh, but he drew one of his best
All right,
cards.
so it was Ravaging Blaze, and Luis is going to snap it off with a negate. He will take 2.
No, I don't think he caught it.
I think Wilson may have forgotten his trigger there on his Scab Clan Berserker. It doesn't, at this point in the game, it doesn't look like it's going to matter a lot. Like, Wilson's going to have to come up with something huge to sort of restabilize and start swinging the momentum back. But, those little 2 points of damage here and there do add up.
Oh, they definitely add up.
If he's able to.
Now everything's on Luis Scott-Vargas. He has the bigger creatures. He's drawn and untapped first. Let's see if he can
Yeah, the Sommerwald Alpha is at the ready.
find a good attack or not. I don't know. I think I start attacking with the Conclave Naturalists.
Yeah, if he does, then both of the Thopter Engineers can block it. And then, Wilson would have to throw another couple of tokens in like the Empath or another token in the Empath, something along those lines. So you would end up killing probably 2 tokens in an Empath out of the deal, which seems pretty good.
Yeah, 1 creature for 3 on this board.
Yeah.
You don't mind making those trades.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like clearing the way out here and trying to clear the path maybe for the Rock Maulers down the line. And at some point, the Separatist Void Mage starts to become a threat that isn't easily blocked here. Like, you could trade off the Scab Clan Berserker for it.
Sure. Yeah, the Separatist Void Mage can already attack if it really wanted to.
It can too now, yeah. Also, important to note here. Oh, all right, here we go. Luis has had enough fooling around. He's going to attack with the Void Mage, the Maulers, and the Conclave Naturalist. So all of them hit the red zone. Remember, Jacob Wilson's top decking here, so Luis feels pretty safe. The negate is out of his hand, so, there's a few things that could go wrong, but he feels like since Wilson's drawing off the top of his deck, he's going to get a little bold here and start rumbling.
Yeah, especially since he's currently tapped out. All right, lots of blocks going on here.
Wow. I don't think I've ever seen double, quadruple block before. That is a lot of blocks. So this makes the Maulers a 5/5 thanks to the Sommerwald Alpha. But 2, 3, 4, 5 damage is going to hit it, and it won't even hit Jacob at all.
For any trample damage, no.
Right. And then 5 power, of course, on the Naturalist as well, and toughness. Looks like he's still kind of feeling out the blocks here. Maybe he wants to make a change. 3, 4, 5. Still feeling it out. Do a little of this.
Looking at Luis's deck, he does have a Titanic Growth as a combat trick he could potentially have drawn.
Now, why did he leave a Goblin back and block with the Thopters?
Less susceptible to artifact removal, I suppose.
Is that what you think? Yeah. Still, it's so much more valuable to
I
have
mean,
a
it is.
flyer.
It is.
To be fair, it is not super likely to matter here, but as Luis is kind of running away with this one.
Target's been chosen. Creatures are trading away. When the dust settles, we got 3 creatures on each side.
Yeah. And like you said a minute ago, Luis is outclassed Jacob Wilson's at the moment. And also, he got in for 2 damage. Wow, he's got 3 of those?
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
Ooh, end of turn Bounding Krasis.
Krasis is going to tap down the newest Thopter Engineer. Is this enable good attacks here for Luis? He's got the Krasis at the ready now as well. It looks like the Void Mage still has a clean attack.
Luis has 9 power on the board.
And he's attacking with everything. He also made sure to play that Forest pre-combat so that he can activate the Somberwald Alpha to give up to 3 creatures trample here. That way chump blocks aren't a thing.
Yeah, and that Somberwald Alpha just proving how good it is here. If you look at the top of the scoreboard, Sam Pardee actually evened up the match versus Eric Froehlich.
That's the bottom of the scoreboard.
Top of the screen, bottom of the scoreboard.
Confirmo.
Players looking at each other's graveyards before they scoop it up.
Yeah, and Luis Scott-Vargas wins his first game. So why don't we jump up to Matt Nass versus Ben Stark. It looks like Ben is deep in the tank or waiting for his opponent to do something, one or the other.
That's a lot of creatures on Matt Nass's side.
Wow. This looks scary if you're Ben Stark, although let's look at the life totals here.
Okay, that's good for
20
Matt.
to 13, so Matt looks like he's on the verge of maybe winning his match against Ben Stark here. And it looks like, so Sam Pardee, Eric Froehlich are going to 3. They're shuffling right now. Luis Scott-Vargas just took game 1 against Wilson. They're going to game 2. They're going to be shuffling.
Look at the life totals now.
Okay.
This tells a different story.
This is a much more interesting game all of a sudden. These creatures are attacking. Is that how you see it?
Yes.
Oh, man.
And Shadows of the Past, is it turned on? Does he have enough creatures in his graveyard
let's
currently?
see. He's
Just
got an
3?
elemental, a bully, an imp, and that's it.
So just 3, okay.
Yeah. Oof.
But this is a lethal attack by Ben Stark.
It is. One of these must be blocked.
Now we see Matt Nass has a Crowan Jailer, a Bonded Construct. What is that? I can't tell what that other creature is. And then a Shambling
Oh, that's
Ghoul.
a Vryn Wing.
Oh, that's the Vryn.
Mare.
Okay, yeah. We saw that during the draft.
Yep. And yeah, Shambling Ghoul too.
Yep.
Okay, so Stark says, okay.
So I wonder, does Matt not give Death Touch to the Imp so that
that is entirely possible.
Ben doesn't gain 3 life?
He doesn't gain 3 life, and he doesn't turn on Shadows of the Past if he does. If he does give a Death Touch, Matt actually drops to 4 because he has to use his Caves of Koilos.
Yes.
He bumps Ben Stark's life total up to 7 and turns on Shadows. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to give Death Touch this time.
Ben going to get to double scry here at the very least.
Yes, but he's at 4 life.
There are a few cards that are in his deck that can pull him out of this, Marshall.
Name one.
Languish.
Oh, he's got a Languish?
He's got a Languish.
Do you think that's the card in his hand?
I certainly hope it is.
For his sake?
Well, for all of our sakes, we're going to keep watching this sweet game, although I guess it's going to go pretty quickly if he has a Shadows active.
Yeah, it is true. But much more quickly if that's not Languish in his hand, because Nass is ready to rumble here and kill Ben Stark.
Yeah.
But Ben is deep in the tank. He's got something going on here.
2, 4, 6, 7. So 7 power on the board for Matt Nass, one of them being a tapper.
2 cards in hand for Stark?
It looked like he picked up 2.
It did. This is a huge turn for him. I mean, if this doesn't go perfectly, he's dead. A land is not what you would expect to see at the beginning, and he's just going to pass the turn back.
So he can go up to... oh, sorry, he can't still use the Shadows.
Right? I only see Mage Ring, Bully, Imp, and Seismic Elemental in the yard. And 4 life. He is facing lethal damage here. Swamp off the top for Nass. I'm assuming he just goes for it here, right?
I guess so, but if Ben has an Unholy Hunger, that would take out 2 power. Would it gain him? No, it would not gain him.
It would not gain him 2 life. So what's going to happen here? Matt Nass can attack just for lethal and leave back some blockers, like he can tap with Bonded Construct and say Shambling Ghoul.
Sure. But if he doesn't attack with everything, then
he's going to attack with everything. Oh, or is he?
If he doesn't attack with everything and Ben does have Unholy Hunger, he can Unholy Hunger his own automaton to stay alive.
Yes, he could. He attacks with everything, though. No, he has it. So Matt Nass, 1 to the good for that team, trying to become champs here. And looking down at the other end of the table, we have the beard fight. Sam Pardee versus Eric Froehlich, and they are in game 3 right now. Uh-oh, Efro's shaking his head, and Sam Pardee looks like he's in business mode here.
Oh.
And now we see why Eric has missed multiple land drops. The good news for him, not under much pressure here. Out of 2 creatures, Sam Pardee has assembled a whopping 9 toughness and 0 power.
Well, that's very good still, I think.
But these, you look down at the graveyard of Froehlich. How about 21 toughness and 0 power for Pardee? Eric's been discarding.
Sure.
Yeah, he is in horrible position mana-wise, and he has to win this game to keep the dream alive for his team.
Yeah, if he loses this one, it's going to go to Matt Nass, Jacob Wilson, and Sam Pardee.
GP's over if he loses this one.
Discarding a Mox Rollers. Oh, Rock Smallers, rather. Now we got some attackers.
I like it. I like your new card. The Mox Rollers.
All right, Eric does hit a 3rd land, finally.
All right, can he get things moving forward in a positive direction? He's going to start things off with an Orchard Spirit, which is fine here.
Yeah, it can attack a past. 3 Guardians of Meletus.
It can attack, it can also block. I mean, he's fine.
Sam has that Starfish, though, and that's doing just so much work, especially because he's living off the top effectively.
And we saw this with Louis Scott-Vargas able to leverage his Sigiled Starfish. And it looks like Watercourser's going to crunch for 4 damage here as the Timberpack Wolf trades off for the Bonded Construct.
Oh, that looked like a Kithian Irregulars for Eric Froehlich off the top. And
which is, it's so exactly what you do and don't want to see.
yeah.
All right, Orchard Spirit followed up by, is that resolving? Yes, Citadel Castellan, upkeep, Scry, put it back on top. That's more bad news for Eric Froehlich. And you can see why. It was Claustrophobia sitting on top of his library.
Teaming up the pressure, attacking with the Courser. And playing a post-combat Griffin.
Yeah, this is looking terrible for Froehlich here. He finds a land. It wasn't a Plains, but at least it's a 4th land here to try to get something going. You know, maybe he suppression bonds on the
Charging Griffin.
On the Griffin, thank you, and gets that threat off the table. Because if you look at the board here, I mean, Nass is actually flooded a little because he's Guardians of Meletus flooded somehow.
He also has 8 lands, and even with the Starfish.
Yeah. It's tough because there's just too many things that Eric really needs to do here. He needs to kill the Starfish. He also needs to kill the Griffin. He's going to play another Citadel Castellan.
That can't be a good sign if that's his best play.
Yeah. Agree.
All right, Starfish scrying to the bottom.
3 mana, and it's another Claustrophobia off the top for Sam Pardee. That's going to allow another attack, and this one could be over very quickly here. He does have suppression bonds, and there's Hixus. Too late for that, though. Also, still no Plains.
Yeah.
So
bonds
right
the Griffin.
now, Eric's hand has Kithian's Irregulars and Hixus Prison Warden in it.
I mean,
his deck must be insane.
Among 4 or 5 other good cards.
Yeah.
Force
all right,
on the
he
Spirit.
has Force Mage to attack. Doing what he can here, but he knows he is almost done. Card to the bottom off the Scryfish. Sam Pardee finds Sigil of Valor, and with all those creatures down, that's a lethal attack. Do we have a champion? We do. Matt Nass, Jacob Wilson, and Sam Pardee are our champions here in Detroit. Congratulations to them.
Yes.
Congrats, of course, to Scott-Vargas and Froehlich on a fantastic run as well. They had a tough road to get here. They made it all the way to the finals, but they couldn't quite get there. Matt Nass, Jacob Wilson, Sam Pardee win the GP.